I'm not going to accept blame, but I'm a little nervous. Okay. I can explain it. It's 2022. It is month, 26 of the year 2020. I can explain it, okay. Anyway, now that we're awake, our special music is going to be provided by Pete Keys and Dave Hundemoller. Dave, how about Deb? I think my brain... We will be having coffee hour after today's service. So if you would like to join us, we would be thrilled with that. We do ask that you wear a mask down there, just to be conservative and extra safe. Calendar notes. On Thursday, April 14th, we will be having a Holy Thursday service. And then on April 17th, for the Easter and Earth Day service, we will be at Morgan Creek Park. On Saturday, the 23rd of April, we will enjoy a Seder led by the Bernsteins. All of that, if you don't have a calendar with you, is in the e-weekly, so you can get that posted. For those interested in helping fill Easter eggs, we Now we enter into a time of worship. Or as Richard Gilbert says, we bid you welcome. We bid you welcome, who come with weary spirit seeking rest, who come with troubles that are too much with you, who come afraid and hurt. We bid you welcome, who come with hope in your heart, who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous. We bid you welcome, who are seekers of a new faith, who come to probe and explore, who come to learn. We bid you welcome, who enter this hall as a homecoming, who have found here room for your spirit, who find in this people a family. Whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. And now we'll enjoy Deb and Pete's music.
Oh, when the red, red robin comes bob, bob, bobbing along, along, there'll be no more sobbing when he starts throbbing his old sweet song. Well, wake up, you sleepyhead, get up, get out of bed, cheer up, the sun is red, live, love, laugh and be happy. What if I've been blue? Now I'm walking through fields of flowers. The rain may glisten, but still I listen for hours and hours. Well, I'm just a kid again, doing what I did again, singing a song. Oh, when the red, red robin comes bob, bob, bobbing along. When the red, red robin comes bob, bob, bobbing along, along, there'll be no more sobbing when he starts throbbing his old sweet song. Well, wake up, you sleepyhead, get up, get out of bed, cheer up, the sun is red, live, love, laugh and be happy. What if I've been blue? Now I'm walking through fields of flowers. The rain may glisten, but still I listen for hours and hours. Well, I'm just a kid again, doing what I did again, singing a song. When the red, red robin comes bob, bob, bobbing along. When the red, red robin comes bob, bob, bobbing along. When the red, red robin comes bob, bob, bobbing along.
Masks are very warm. Good morning. I wanted today's service to focus on rebuilding our faith community after the pandemic. But recent events have touched my heart, and instead of focusing more on moving beyond the pandemic, I want to talk this morning about building our faith community to rise up in support of our transgender. Our Unitarian Universalist faith is strongly rooted in social justice actions. We believe in justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. As we draw from the words and deeds of prophetic women and men which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. Therefore, as we enter into the spirit of our faith community this morning, I encourage you to hear the pleas for justice from our transgender community. Let us take the opportunity this morning to travel this path together. It's a long way to go for justice, but I know that we can get there. Let us start by singing together this morning's first hymn, number 351. It's not one that we've tackled often, so Kathleen is going to help us through it. Please stand as you are able.
Blow across the sea plains blue, but longer far my heart must go before its dreams come true. And work we must, and love we must, and do the best we may, and take the hope of dreams in trust to keep us day by day. A long, long way the sea winds blow, but somewhere lies a shore. Thus down the tide of time shall flow my dreams forevermore. As Deborah lights the chalice this morning, oh, please have a seat. As Deborah lights the chalice this morning as a sign of our faith tradition, let us ponder these words. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, a sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of the life we share together. And now please join in reading our affirmation on the screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And now, Andrea's going to take her chances with the mic and share a story for all ages.
Good morning. I have the advantage that if the microphone decides to be difficult, having been raised in the South and educated in Chicago, that I can project. And if I'm really lucky, my parents will hear me in Tennessee. So this morning's story is the book I Am Jazz. And it is by Jessica Herthel and Jazz Jennings. The pictures in the book are by Sheila McNichols. And it begins. I am jazz. For as long as I can remember, my favorite color has been pink. My second favorite color is green, and my third favorite color is green. And I reversed that. I can't read this morning, apparently. Here are some of my other favorite things: dancing, singing, backflips, drawing, soccer, swimming, makeup, and pretending I'm a pop star. Most of all, I love mermaids. Sometimes I even wear a mermaid tail in the pool. My best friends are Samantha and Casey. We always have fun together. We like high heels and princess gowns or cartwheels and trampolines. But I'm not exactly like Samantha and Casey. I have a girl brain, but a boy body. This is called transgender. I was born this way. When I was very little, my mom would say, "You're such a good boy." I would say, "No, Mama, good girl." At first, my family was confused. They always thought of me as a boy. And as I got a little older, I hardly ever played with trucks or tools or superheroes, only princesses and mermaid costumes. My brothers told me this was girl stuff, and I kept right on playing. My sister says that I was always talking to her about girl thoughts and my girl dreams and how one day I would be a beautiful lady. She would giggle and say, "You're a funny kid." Sometimes my parents let me wear my sister's dresses around the house, but whenever we went out, I had to put on my boy clothes. This made me sad. Still, I never gave up trying to convince them. Pretending I was a boy was like living a lie. Then, one amazing day, everything changed. Mom and Dad took me to meet a new doctor who asked me lots and lots of questions. Afterward, the doctor spoke to my parents, and I heard the word transgender for the first time. And that night, at bedtime, my parents both hugged me and said, "We understand now. Be who you are. We love you, no matter what." And this made me smile and smile and smile. Mom and Dad told me that I could start wearing girl clothes to school and growing my hair long, and they even let me change my name to Jazz. Being Jazz felt much more like being me. Mom said that being Jazz would make me different from the other kids at school, but that being different is okay. What's important, she said, is that I'm happy with who I am. Being Jazz caused some people to be confused, like the teachers at school. And at the beginning of the year, they wanted me to use the boys' bathroom and play on the boys' team in gym class, and that didn't feel normal at all. I was so happy when the teachers changed their minds. I can't imagine not playing on the same team as Casey and Samantha. But even today, there are some kids who tease me or call me by a boy name or ignore me altogether. This makes me feel crummy. And then I remember the kids who get to know me usually want to be my friend. They say I'm one of the nicest girls at school. I don't mind being different. Different is special. I think what matters most is what a person is like inside. And inside, I am happy. I am having fun. I am proud. And I am jazz.
Our first reading this morning comes from the book Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Trans But Were Afraid to Ask by Bryn Tannehill. Religion is perhaps the greatest cultural source of stigma for transgender people in the United States. According to an international poll conducted by Ipsos in 2017, Americans are more likely to believe that being transgender is a sin than any other nation in the survey. The US population is also the most likely of any of those of the countries surveyed to believe that society has gone too far in accepting transgender people. Conservative religious organizations and individuals continue to preach a doctrine of exclusion because anti-LGBT religious groups are very well funded. One result of this well-funded campaign is that it is driving younger people away from religion altogether. Almost a third of people between the ages of 18 and 29 have no specific religion. These are the nuns, according, N-O-N-E-S, not nunny bunnies. This is according to a recent study by Pew. Most still have religious beliefs, and the vast majority of them hold tolerant views of LGBT people and their issues. But when it comes to fighting back against the exclusionary practices of the religious right, most nuns seem to take the attitude of, not my circus, not my monkeys. In other words, it's not my religion, I'm not gay, I'm not trans, it's not my problem. They seem to trust that cultural evolution and demographic shift will solve the problem over time. This is a tragedy for LGBT youth. They don't need things to get better in 20 years. They need things to get better now. 40% of today's homeless teens are LGBT. LGBT teens are 5 times more likely than the general population to commit suicide, to attempt suicide. That rate is even higher for transgender people. LGBT teens need help and a more accepting society and home life. Affirming religious organizations provide a framework to promote both, though the number of open and affirming denominations are small in comparison with faiths that exclude LGBT people. But even these LGBT-friendly churches are seeing their membership decline, as are churches of more conservative faiths. This is because most socially progressive millennials, which is most of them, view the choice as an ultimatum of sorts, choosing between one's political identity or one's religious identity. When it comes down to brass tacks, millennials are apt to choose the latter, given how little effort it takes to drop out of organized religion and how little price there is to pay for it outside rural areas. In short, when there is a conflict between religious and political identity, people are giving up the religious ones. Now, if you're willing and able, please stand for hymn number 297, The Star of Truth. truth but dimly shines behind the veiling clouds of night. But every searching eye divines some partial glimmer of its light. The certainty for which we crave, no mortal ones can ever know. Uncharted waters we must brave, and face whatever winds may blow. Though for safe harbor we may long, we must not let our courage fail. And though the winds of doubt blow strong, upon the trackless ocean sail, from honest doubt we shall not flee, nor falter the inquiring mind. For where the hearts of all are free, a truer faith we there shall find. Our second reading comes from the grown-up version of the book that Andrea read. It's called Being Jazz, My Life as a Transgender Teen by Jennings. The following section describes what happened to her in childhood. She had been playing soccer since kindergarten, but was denied when trying to get onto a girls' team in 3rd grade. I had turned 9 by then and had been living as my authentic self for 4 years, but I think it was the first time I realized just how much being transgender could affect my life on a larger scale. All the conflict we'd had until then, about my entering school as a girl, about bathroom rights, were issues we'd faced in our everyday lives right around us. The idea that there was a statewide organization that was against me was terrifying. I'd understood in a general sense that there would probably be other problems I'd have to face in life besides bathrooms and pronouns, but I began to feel the full weight of how much people didn't get what being transgender is. Nothing about the ban by the State Soccer Association made any sense to me. I knew it was because of bigotry, fear, and ignorance, but it just didn't compute. The State Soccer Association believed that because I had been born in a boy's body, I had an unfair advantage, which was ridiculous. I was 100% a girl, not to mention the smallest one on the team. The reason I was good at sports was because I worked hard and I practiced. It felt surreal and infuriating to be denied my rights after having come so far with my transition. The association was also concerned about parents from other teams suing them for allowing a child they perceived as the wrong gender to play against their kid. Because of the physical differences and, in the league's mind, capabilities, girls were allowed to play with boys, but boys were not allowed to play with girls. It messed with my head that suddenly the activity I loved most in the world was being ripped away from me because of a single letter on a piece of paper somewhere. It felt like the universe was playing some sort of cruel trick on me. Playing on the boys' team was awful. I started to feel like I had before I had transitioned. I was trapped in the wrong reality, forced into a gendered system I didn't belong in. I knew I was as good a player as any of the boys, but that wasn't the point. I started to lose confidence because I felt like such an outsider.
The two readings that I chose this morning, one about faith communities and one about transgender girls in sports sum up my message for us this morning. The transgender community is being assaulted by politicians and conservative religious groups now more than ever before. As the most progressive religious group out there, we as Unitarian Universalists need to do what we can to let the community know that we are here for them, both socially and spiritually. On March 3rd of this month, Governor Kim Reynolds signed into law House File 2416, prohibiting transgender women and girls from competing in female sports offered by Iowa schools, colleges, and universities. Reynolds said that the law is a fairness issue because of what she said are athletic advantages for transgender girls. In fact, she even believes Iowa has an impressive legacy of advancing women's equality. So she went on to say that great things happen when women have access to fair and equal playing fields they deserve. But what would it say about a commitment to this principle if we let actual playing fields, courts, fields, rinks, pools, and tracks of youth and collegiate sports be tilted in favor of biological males with inherent physical advantages? Of course, neither Governor Reynolds nor her staff actually spoke with any transgender individuals or with any medical specialist who truly understand what being transgender means. If they had, they would have learned that many transgender girls take hormone blockers to suppress testosterone, which would be the hormone that causes the perceived inequality in the first place. In her mind, and in the minds of those that support this law, they think that boys and men dress up like girls and pretend to be female so that they can participate in female sports. That can't be further from the truth. In the case of Jennings, she was 9 years old when she was denied the right to play soccer on the girls' team. 9! What possible advantage does a 9-year-old child have against children of the same age? They haven't even hit puberty yet, and they have no developmental differences. Truly, the only difference is what is between their legs. How do you think genitals make you better or worse at playing soccer? It's ridiculous. Thankfully, legal experts believe that Iowa's law is likely headed for a legal challenge. Over the past 2 years, such laws in Idaho, West Virginia, Tennessee, and Florida have been embroiled in court battles. In a Des Moines Register article, it states that Des Moines public schools oppose this legislation. And incidentally, so do the Cedar Rapids schools. Phil Roeder, a spokesperson for the Des Moines Public Schools, said that the district must follow state law, but they are concerned about potential conflicts with federal law, in particular Title IX, which prohibits schools from discrimination based on sex. The law allows students to sue if they believe they have suffered direct or indirect harm based on a school violating this law. Given that the U.S. Department of Education released guidance last year saying transgender students' rights are protected under Title IX, I completely agree that Governor Reynolds just primed the stage for a legal battle. The Iowa High School Girls Athletic Union's policy and guidelines have previously said that transgender girls could fully compete as females if they consistently identify as a female at school, home, and socially. But the union has since removed that section from its guidelines from its website since the day that Iowa House File 2416 was signed. Now, most of you are aware that I have a transgender daughter. Admittedly, she hates sports, but she is very invested in show choir and has been for the last 6 years. Due to the rigorous dance routines, show choir and dance are considered sports in her school. There have been several days where if it wasn't for show choir, speech, and theater, I don't think I could even get her out of bed, let alone get her to school. These activities are an integral outlet for her to feel comfortable to be her authentic self. When she is dancing, she can set aside all of the bigotry of the outside world and be fully in the moment with her dance teams. The idea that some law concocted out of ignorance, bigotry, and fear could take away that very activity that brings the most joy to my child breaks my heart. Thankfully, my daughter graduates this year, but I still worry about the students that are at that school that have to be there for next year. Although show choir is co-ed, will transgender girls be humiliated on stage by wearing boys' costumes? Will the dance team that is only for girls truly block transgender girls from being on the team? I don't know the answer to those questions, but I hope that groups fighting for social justice over the next year can make a difference so that those questions do not have to be answered. As of March 3rd, when Governor Reynolds signed this discrimination into law, the article in the Des Moines Register stated a group of more than 150 companies, including Amazon, General Mills, IBM, Microsoft, and Nestle, have signed a statement opposing the legislation in Iowa and other states. And this is according to a news release from the Human Rights Campaign. In addition, an article published January 7th of 2022 on the NBCnews.com website stated, while state lawmakers have been aggressive in their efforts to limit the right of transgender and non-binary youths in recent years, Americans overwhelmingly oppose anti-trans laws. 2/3 of Americans and majorities among every political ideology and age group oppose laws that would restrict transgender rights, as found in a 2021 PBS NewsHour, NPR, and Marissa poll. This brings me to the first reading, then, that we had this morning, where we see the attitude of, not my circus, not my monkeys. The idea that cultural evolution and demographic shift will solve the problem over time. Our youth don't have that time. Our transgender community does not have that time. The Trevor Project, an LGBTQ youth suicide prevention and crisis intervention organization, it reported last year showed that the crisis lines experienced a surge in calls from young people living in Texas. Now, if you recall, last year, Texas considered over 50 bills targeting trans kids last year. The report noted that from January through August, the organization received nearly 4,000 crisis calls from trans and non-binary Texan youth. This is a 150% increase compared with the same period in 2020. When the previous statistics showed 1 in 5 trans students attempt suicide, I can't imagine what that statistic is as of today. I wish I could say that things cannot get worse for the transgender community, but I would be wrong. In reading the book, Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Trans But Were Afraid to Ask by Brian Tannehill, I learned some horrible things about the beliefs of some faith communities. Not only are many of the major faiths not supportive of trans and non-binary individuals, but some are outright cruel. The Association of Certified Biblical Counselors, a group drawn from conservative Christian denominations, but especially the Southern Baptists, do not see a difference between being dead by suicide and alive and transgender. You end up in hell either way. These folks are telling parents that, sure, the suicide statistics rejecting transgender children may be high, but if you don't shame and reject them into not being transgender anymore, they're going to hell anyway. But if you accept your transgender child, you're all going to hell, not just your kid. The message is, it's better for you to end up with a dead kid than a transgender one. I am horrified by that. And as my daughter and her friends would say, I can't even with these people. And it is no wonder. Sorry. I'm sorry. It is no wonder that so many people are leaving faith communities. Thank you. If this is the message that they are hearing, it is not a coincidence that the nuns, the people that have no connection to a religious organization, are the fastest growing religious group in the U.S. These individuals deeply disagree with the treatment of LGBTQ youth and individuals. And they are rejecting organized faith as a form of protest. In the book, You Lost Me, Why Young Christians Are Leaving Church and Rethinking Faith, they note that many nuns cite organized religion's lack of relevance to their lives as a key reason that they have left the flock. I understand their need for distance. I understand their frustration and their anger and their sadness. If the only message that they are seeing in the media are coming from the evangelical faith traditions, I would reject them as well. But we are Unitarian Universalists. Even the book, Brian Tanner states, data from the Pew Research Center shows that Hindus, Jews, Unitarian Universalists, and Buddhists are the most educated groups in the country. Thus, it is unsurprising that Jews, Reformed and conservative, Hindus, Buddhists, and Unitarian Universalists are the strongest supporters of same-sex marriage of any other group. It is worth noting that atheists, agnostics, and the nuns, N-O-N-E-S, support marriage equality at a rate greater than that of the Jews and Hindus, but less than that of the Buddhists and Unitarian Universalists. Basically, Unitarian Universalists are awesome. We support Black rights, gay rights, trans rights, just equality all the way around. But our message needs to get out there. All the hate speech has turned people away from religion. What we need to do is show people that there are faith communities that truly still love one another. Kathleen read to us that religion is perhaps the greatest cultural source of stigma for trans people in the United States. LGBT teens need help and a more accepting society and home life. Affirming religious organizations provide a framework to promote both, though the number of open and affirming denominations are small in comparison with faiths that exclude LGBT people. People's Church is an affirming denomination. We are small in comparison with other faiths, but we can make a lot of noise. The transgender community is being assaulted by politicians and conservative religious groups now more than ever. As the most progressive religious group out there, we as UUs need to do what we can to let the community know that we are here for them, both socially and spiritually. Use your social media platforms to promote the International Trans Day of Visibility that is coming up this Thursday on March 31st. It's coming up soon, so be sure and post something on the media. Support LGBTQ businesses and organizations so that they can continue to keep helping the community. Speak out and protest when legislation promotes hate speech, and support leaders that believe in spreading equality and compassion. Support the UUA, support Congregation Gaia, support People's Church, so that we can get our message of love out to all who need it. My daughter needs this. The community needs this. We need to show them that we are here, and we are here to be loving towards them all. Thank you.
At this time, we take up our offering to support the ministry of People's Church. There are many ways of giving. We're talking about the financial ways right now. You know that you can send a check to us at church here. You can go to our website in the upper right-hand corner where it says Donate Now. Or if you want to be techie, you can use the Vanco app on your smartphone. Thank you for all you do financially and emotionally in supporting People's Church.
Peace is the feeling you have when you're hugged. When you turn and hug someone, that feeling is love. When the whole world is hugging, oh, won't that be fine? There'll be peace for all humankind. Peace is the feeling you have when you share. Though it's hard letting go, there's so much we can spare. When the whole world is sharing, oh, won't that be fine? There'll be peace for all humankind. Peace is the feeling you have when you care. about strangers in trouble, about people everywhere. When the whole world is caring, oh, won't that be fine? There'll be peace for all humankind. Peace is the feeling when you learn not to hit, though it's hard using words when you're angry instead. When the whole world stops hitting, oh, won't that be fine? There'll be peace for all humankind. Peace is the feeling you have deep inside. It's that small voice that tells you that everything's all right. When the whole world is quiet, oh, won't that be fine? There'll be peace for all humankind. When the whole world is loving, oh, won't that be fine? There'll be peace for all humankind.
I think I'm back together again. I would like to invite us now into a time of prayer and meditation. Divine Spirit, we call to you. Lord, Lady, Universe, we call to you. That which is greater than ourselves, we call to you. Be with us as we gather strength, courage, and love. Be with us as we send out our message of compassion and justice to our community. Be with us as we reach out to a bruised and hurting world to show what love truly means. Inside the tadpole is a frog. Inside the caterpillar is a butterfly. Inside the pain of our world is joyous love. The transition is just under the surface. Help us to bring transformation that we know exists. Love connects our faith community. Hope connects our social community. May compassion connect our world community. We thank you, Great Spirit, for hearing our words. May our love and energy be sent to all those who need it. Aho, amen, and blessed be. This morning, we move into our candle ritual. For those of you that are watching us at home, if you have a candle within your reach, I invite you to light this with whatever intention is on your heart at this time. For those of us here in the service, we invite you in the sanctuary to come up and light a candle for whatever joys or sorrows are on your heart.
now, stand as you're willing and able, and join in our closing hymn of Fierce Unrest, number 304. Unrest sees at the core of all existing things. It was the eager wish to soar that gave the gods their wings. There throbs through all the worlds that are this heartbeat, hot and strong, bond-shaken system, star by star, awake and glow in song. But for the urge of this unrest, these joyous fears are mute. But for the rebel in our breast, had we remained as brutes, when baffled lips demanded speech, speech trembled into mirth. One day the lyric word shall reach from earth to laughing earth. From deed to dream, from dream to deed, from daring hope to hope, the restless wish, the instant need, still drove us up the slope. Seeing we no governed firmament, cold-ordered regular, we sing the stinging discontent that leaps from star to star. Oops. Please read with me as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this chalice flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
If here you have found freedom, take it with you into the world. The way before us is long, but we travel towards justice. If you have found comfort, go and share it with others. If you have dreamed dreams, help one another that they may come true. If you have known love, give some back to a bruised and hurting world. Go in peace. Blessed be. Thank you. Coffee hour downstairs, so if you'd like to stay and mingle around to socialize, please do so.